Welcome to another episode of the Stay Connected podcast. I'm here today with Nick Duffy, professional golfer, coach, and content creator, part of Athletic Motion Golf Club. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you being a part of the episode today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. So let's get straight to it. How did you get into the game of golf? That's kind of how I start each podcast, and I
Yeah.
figured love to hear your journey.
So I was pretty lucky to grow up across the street from a golf course, and we moved to a house lived in Windermere, Florida. Moved to Kissimmee, Florida, and they built a golf course literally within, man, I want to say a year of me moving to the new house. And so literally directly across the street from my road I lived on was the ninth hole of the golf course. So
Nice.
we as a family just started playing golf there. My dad got me started in it. Met some of my best friends to this day from playing golf there. I'd walk across the street every day, go work there as a kid, which is something you can't do nowadays as a 10, 11-year-old. But yeah, so I started playing golf that way, working for pick a range for golf privileges, and just spent every day I could on the golf course as a kid. Yeah,
So you said around like 10 years old?
10 years old, man. Yeah, that's
Did you
late
play
now.
any?
Late now, but it's old. It's good time back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you play any junior golf tournaments growing up?
Oh yeah. So I started out playing just local JGA in Orlando. It's a little low cost you know junior golf stuff in Orlando area, Central Florida area. And then started playing FSGA towards the end. It was the FJT or I forgot what they called it when I was a kid.
Yeah,
It
it
was
should be FJT.
yeah, but I mean it's 33 years ago, man. So it's like it's like a
Yeah.
long time ago. So it was a little different name back then. I think when I went to college, I was number one ranked in my age group, but it was a little too late to get the college scholarships by then. But yeah, played two U.S.
Nice.
juniors. Played at Conway Farms back in 1998 and 99. Played at Country Club of York. Lost to Camilo Villegas first round of match play. So yeah,
Wow. So you were a
yeah,
player, man.
yeah. I was
You-
pretty good. I was like, I grew up on a water range. We played golf every day, and it was all about short game putting and playing golf where I was. There's no like hitting golf balls because the range was so bad.
yeah.
You know.
So what were some of the things that attributed to your success in junior golf?
Um, I think a lot of what I got lucky on was just growing up playing with a lot of like pro golfers. Played with a lot of guys who were, kind of like mid-tier, pretty close to making it to PGA Tour. Not quite that good. Um, but like, yeah, I grew up, like, 12, 13 years old playing golf with pro golfers. My
Yeah.
parents would drop me off, and I would just kind of like raise playing golf with like really good players. So it's kind of different now these days. I mean, I go to like OCN or go to someplace around here, and it's always parents with kids. There's never kids playing with kids. There's never like good players playing with kids. It's always the dad watching the kid like nonstop. It's a different
Yeah.
world nowadays. You know what I mean? It's like you can't do
Yeah.
that. You can't just drop your 12-year-old off at a golf course nowadays. It's like
Yeah.
let him run
It's
wild.
completely different. It's
Yeah.
changed quite a bit, and that's super true what you talked about there. I mean, in order to really take your game to the next level, you got to be around people that are better than you, so you can
Oh,
learn and challenge yourself as you're going about it.
yeah. I was one of the worst players where I grew up, and like I go play against kids my own age. I did pretty well. Um,
Yeah,
So it's funny. It's like you grow up in that environment, and then you go play against kids your own age. You beat them. It's just it wasn't that hard because you're like playing against pros, or you know what I mean. You're
exactly.
playing against like high end amateurs. It was a different world.
And it's such an advantage to grow up in Florida or Texas or
Yep.
California, like the big states for golf, because I mean, some of these guys up north barely get much time to even play golf, and
Yep.
most of the time it's indoors. Like, we were very fortunate to grow up down here and be
Yep.
able to be exposed to so many golf courses and so much talent in
Yeah.
golf.
Especially my age. I mean, nowadays you kind of grow up and you have Trackman Sim in your basement, like up
Yeah.
north nowadays. But like back when I was a kid, you couldn't do that stuff. I mean,
So you talked a little bit about the evolution of the game already, but I mean, what are some of the main things you've seen in the game of golf like evolve since you were a kid growing up at the country club versus now, like, a lot further down the road?
yeah. So biggest thing I see is just the power game. I mean, it's just like kids are so much longer nowadays. It's like you get more athletes in golf now. So I like, for example, when I was in high school, we had 6 kids try out for golf my sophomore year of high school. Tiger Woods wins the Masters. Later the next year, we had 20 kids try out. You know, I mean, it's like that
Yeah.
jump started happening when I was in high school. And then
Hmm.
you see from that to now, it's like you get kids who would have played other sports now playing golf. So you
Yeah.
have the kids who would have played, baseball, would have played whatever, and they're athletes now. Where golf was always like the sport when I was a kid was like, oh, you're not tall enough to play basketball, you're not good enough to play football, whatever it may be. Like, go play golf. It's
Yeah.
now you're getting
Exactly.
kids who are like legit athletes playing the sport, and that's where the
And,
difference is.
and you were in the midst of that transition with the Tiger era in
Yeah.
like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Hmm.
I mean, at least with me, even growing up, like in school, like I would get picked on for playing golf. And
Yeah.
now, like a lot of the guys that are picking on me are playing golf,
Right.
and I see them at the range hitting balls. And it's like we hopped on the wave way earlier than they
It's
did.
I mean, you're way
Um,
younger, so it's funny because like I started like in high school playing golf with kids who were not in the sport at all, and then all of a sudden jumped on the bandwagon like my junior year of high school. It's like, oh my god,
yeah,
golf's cool now. So I was working the golf course to get my friends on for free, like baseball players, or, the kids and football players in high school. And they loved it. They're like, oh my god, this
yeah.
is so much fun. I'm like, yeah, it is a lot of fun. Yeah,
Why do you think that happens at at a later age rather than such a young age? Because a lot of us, we probably see golf as differently than we do now as like we mature. Why do you
yeah.
think that happens with golf?
So it's one of those things like, go and play a pickup game of basketball at age, 35, 40. I mean, how much fun is that going to be playing against young kids? It's going to be awful. You're going to get your butt kicked. At least in golf, you kind of hold your own and kind of manage your own game and kind of like, be able to hang a little bit. I think when you play, the sport at a young age, like say football, no one's gonna play a pick up football game at age 40. You're gonna get killed. You know what I mean? It's like so
Yeah,
it's a game you can play your entire life. I mean, I worked at private country clubs back in the day, and it was like you know seeing people play till they're like 70, 80, and still enjoy their game, still beat their age. That's the fun part. You can't
yeah,
do that in any other sport.
yeah. So totally true, man. So talk to me a little bit about your transition from junior golf to college golf to more the professional world,
Yeah.
and now like on the instructional side. Can you tell me a little bit about that journey and how it's been?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say that the transition from junior golf to college golf is probably why I'm doing what I do now. I was a pretty good junior player. Once again, didn't have really the money to go play AJGA and stuff like that back in the day, especially because you had to travel a lot back then.
Yeah,
Now it's way easier. You can play like your schedule in your hometown almost. Um, but basically, I went from being a pretty good junior player. I really struggled in college. I played pretty well my junior year. I started my freshman sophomore year. Junior year really started to struggle. I mean, I almost pretty much gave it a game junior senior year. I played at NAI school down in South Florida. Was Northwood, now it's Kaiser. But we're always like a good school. Um, what ended up happening is really struggled off the tee. Couldn't figure out my tee ball. The day I turned pro, decided to like, basically, figure it out. I started playing Hooters Tour. Played pretty decent my first season out. Not terrible. Way better than I played in college, actually. And then when I started working with a pro called Matt Messer at Bear Lakes Country Club in South Florida, um,
yeah.
he pretty much is the reason why I think I still teach to this day. Because he went from I went from being the worst ball striker you could possibly imagine, guy just scrambled around and got up and down for everywhere, to a guy who like, was hitting, 12 fairways around and hitting like 14 greens around. From being the guy who was like, I would hit maybe 5 fairways and like 6 greens. It's like, so
Wow.
totally different world. Like it totally changed the way I looked at golf. And I think that's why I am where I am now. It's because of like that change in my mindset and way of I mean, go from the old ball flight laws of being like, swing it in to out, hit the ball straight, what I used to think. To him, he's like, dude, swing left. Don't stop swinging right. You're hitting hooks. Okay, cool. Once I figured that out, the game got so much easier. I'm like, I'd never put two and two together with that on my
So
own.
the biggest transition for you that kind of helped you understand like, how to take the game to a deeper level was more like the like why the ball does what it does type thing.
Because think about this, back whenever I was a junior, it was the old ball flight laws. So the face
Yeah.
dictated the shape, and the path dictated where the ball started.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
So it's the
So
complete opposite of what it is today.
complete opposite of what it actually is. So I
I
mean,
didn't know that.
yeah. So that's what we were taught on as a kid. So when I actually took my PGA test to become a Class A, PGA of America, I actually had to get the answers wrong to get them right for the PGA.
Wow.
They updated it now. It's updated now, thank God. But like I had to actually answer it wrong to get it right.
So they were teaching that, but it wasn't actually like what was happening. I mean,
No,
the
because they had no way to quantify it, and
mm.
the stuff was so outdated. They had to update all the stuff they had. So the teaching manual, PGA teaching manual, was so far off. Yeah.
So how was that process of going from professional golf to like teaching full time?
Oh.
You mentioned you went through like the PGA of America, like kind of
Hmm.
certification process. I've
Yep.
heard a lot of stories about that. You got to be studying quite a long time and going through a lot
Yeah.
of curriculums. Could you
I,
tell me a little bit about that?
I mean, I'll be honest. It was. In hindsight, I'm glad I did it now. I think if I were starting as an instructor now, I probably wouldn't have done it. I probably would just have like said, I could post up my tent anywhere. Back whenever I started teaching in golf, you had to work for an academy or a country club or something.
Yeah,
There's nobody just post something the tent somewhere. Where nowadays you can pretty much like if you have a good Instagram following, good social media following, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like it's a totally
yeah,
different world. So
totally.
yeah, I mean I feel like the young instructors nowadays, if they get a good sense of what they're teaching, a good say toolbox, they get pretty much. I mean, the world's your oyster now. It's like it's way easier now. Yeah.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing golf content for?
Oh man, I started Instagram pretty early. I used to just post literally like my student swings. I started with that
Yeah.
back in like 2014, probably.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been doing that for quite some time. I'm probably worse now than I was back then. I would literally post a swing a day or in and out stories. So I just do more story a day. But I mean, like 2 years ago, I was really good about posting legit content every day almost.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you got a good following
yeah.
through your page. What are some of the opportunities that have opened up for you with the content that you've
Mm.
started?
Yeah, so a lot of what I tend to get, a lot of I've had a lot of companies reach out to me, I mean, all the time about like trying to sponsor products, stuff like that. I'm very picky about that because I'm an instructor. I don't really want to like,
Yeah.
I'll get the weirdest stuff come out to me sometimes. Like I'm bald and I get hair products that reach out to me. Yeah, it's like stuff like that. But
Yeah.
then I'll get also like legit training aids that are pretty decent, but like may not just fit what I want to teach. Um, that's the tough
It's a
part.
fine line. It's a
It is.
fine line with those training aids,
It
man,
really
because I
is,
mean,
man.
I get sent a lot of these products to promote it and all that, and I'm like, look, I mean, I'm happy to help, but at the same time, like you kind of pollute your page by posting too much of that stuff and
Yep.
lose credibility just to promote stuff just to
That's
do
a
it.
that's a very dangerous thing. Like you don't want to be the guy just promoting a new thing every week because then you lose your base. Like you kind of lose your credibility too. Because a lot of guys who I used to follow on Instagram back in the day who just literally you look at every time they open their page, it's literally a new product promotion. I'm like, like what are you doing now? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. For sure. I mean, there's a line where it does, kind of help where, if you're able to be good at selecting the right products, because there are a lot of products out there.
it's a
And there are
lot.
also like a good amount of good products that you,
Yeah,
you should be promoting. Um, so it's a fine line, but I would say you definitely got to scout out the whole market and see what's out there to make sure you get the right stuff to go forward.
yeah, for sure. There's been a few that I've been like partners with, like I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's the well, they do a lot of like little red little bands and like little like balls on the end of it. I forget the name of it. Man, oh my God.
Nice.
But anyways, they're amazing. You can do a lot of stuff with their stuff. Capto is amazing. Like it's a putting capturing unit, kind of almost like TrackMan for putting. They're great. A lot of ones that I've been partners with in the past are amazing. Some is like they're so limited on what you can do with them. You may have like 1% of your population or teaching people you see in a day. Stuff will work well. It's like that's the
Yeah.
thing. You want stuff that be kind of broad. You don't want stuff that's just like maybe two out of like 20 people you see will work.
Yeah. 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 Functional.
Yeah.
Really functional is what you're looking for.
Hmm.
So now you're part of Athletic Golf Motion. So was
Athletic
that
motion golf.
something? Athletic Motion Golf Club.
Yeah.
Sorry. And was that something? Is that where you started your golf instruction journey, or is this something that kind of came up as you were teaching?
Yeah, so Sean and I, Sean Webb, he's one of the co-founders of Athletic Motion Golf Club or Athletic Motion Golf with Mike Granado. So he and I worked together at Gary Gilchrist Golf Academy back in 2011. We first met and we hit it off immediately. We were really, really good friends, very similar ideas on stuff, and we just kept in touch for years. We became like buddies. Just hit it. Whenever I question golf stuff, I always go to him about stuff. And he wanted to open a place here in Winter Garden, and I've lived in Winter Garden now for I got like 10, 11 years now. So when he wanted to open this place up, he's like, I only have one guy in mind who I want to do this, and I was the guy. And so we went through certification together. I was the first certified AMG instructor. So now I'm like the GM of the place, and also helping out with certification for other instructors throughout the country. We're going to start launching that pretty soon, and just trying to build the business. Yeah.
Nice. And what does it take to be certified through Athletic Motion Golf, and why is it something golf instructors should be looking at?
That's a great question. We're still working on the certification as of right now. Level one is going to be pretty kind of broad, almost like if you did TPI, if you've done TPI in the past, it's pretty broad certification. When we start going on to like level two, level three, it's going to be very niche. It's going to be very close. Like it's going to be hard to be level two, level three. It's going to be also like
Yeah.
you have to send your resume in type of thing. Um, Level one is going to be kind of like, okay, get a chance to see what we do, see what gears shows you, see what you would see on camera compared to gears type of thing. Because the biggest thing we see and like the biggest thing ISO company is about is the spelling miss from video to 3D. And because that's pretty much the biggest issue with golf instruction these days. Guys are showing stuff on 2D video and saying what you would see on 3D, but it's not even close. And a lot of guys are actually telling you what you'd see on 3D, and it's not true. It's
Really?
like, yeah. So like,
Wow.
there's a lot of guys who are ground force instructors who don't even have ground force plates. They don't
Yeah.
have the units. So they're telling you what you would see. So I mean, you should come down sometime to our place and to see what you would see on 3D on your own swing.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing what you think you're doing and what you see when you try to actually apply it on the plates or the 3D. It's night and day. When you think
So
you're applying a force, it normally is way. When you think you're doing it, it's way later when it
yeah.
shows up. Yeah.
So you guys are an indoor facility only,
Yep.
correct?
Hmm.
And what are some of the gadgets that you guys have available for people that can come in and check it out?
Yeah. So we have 8 TrackMan bays. We have one bay that's just basically our 3D force plate and TrackMan bay. We have Hack Motion. We have Capto and Sandpot Lab. So we pretty much have
Nice.
everything you
Full
would possibly
setup.
need. The only thing we don't really have is I would say Quintech would be the only thing we don't have. It's Quintech for years. It's amazing product, but we don't. That's the only one we don't have really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for now, you guys just have that one location
Yep.
there in your area?
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. We're. I mean, eventually, I think Sean and Mike would like to expand. I think once again, we want to build this place up pretty good, get it to where it's fully operational and very functional, and we would have a waiting list almost of members. We don't
Yeah.
want to try to build up 20 locations and kind of crash. That's not our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys operate as in like a monthly subscription base?
We do both. We're monthly subscription. That's probably our biggest clientele is the monthly subscription guys who are just there to, you know, we have hardcore practitioners at our place. It's guys who want to come in and make a change in their golf swing, change a pattern they currently have, whether it be, slicers want to drawers, whatever it may be. The guys are in there to basically make a change. And so we have those guys are our hardcore clients are those guys. And then we will have our daily fee guys. We're getting way more of those now, which are just $75 an hour for a bay, 150 for 3 hours in a bay. And then that's kind of our, it's kind of a supplemental thing. I think eventually when we get to 100 members, we've only been for about a year now, just over a year. We will cap it, so we're maybe just members only. But
Yeah.
as of right now, that's our target market.
So it's like a place where you could just go to grind and like, it's like a membership at a
Yep.
golf club, but it's indoor and you're getting all these gadgets and things to really dissect your stuff. And through the process, as a member, are you able to get access to people like you to like
Yeah.
get some tips and tricks as you go?
Yeah, so I mean, I've launched a pretty good game improvement program recently where we could basically like give you a good plan like where the like weekly half-hour lessons to basically get your goals or change a pattern. And I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, it's the ongoing daily changes or weekly changes to get you to where you want to go. The guys who want to come in and just get one lesson, they're not really going to make a change. And I mean, anyone who's played golf for a long time, I mean, you're a good player, obviously. You know how it is.
Yeah.
You can't just like get one lesson, and be okay, I'm good. That's it.
No.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Doesn't happen, man. And that's something
No,
people really got to understand as they go about. Like with golf, you got to have the patience to be able to see the progress,
yeah.
the process actually full out. And if you're not committed to that, like, just don't even go in there. Don't even try it.
Yeah, I mean that's the hardest thing to tell people sometimes. It's like, if you're looking for like the quick fix and to like jump on the tee the next day to go play golf, it's not how it works. I mean, I wish it was that easy, but it's like, you literally have to work on a pattern. Literally have to work on the change you're trying to make. If it's something worth doing, it's normally not a very easy change. Yeah.
Yeah. And this next question could be a little bit of a broad question, but what's your teaching philosophy? What is
No.
something that you kind of go about that it's like your, you know, thing?
So I'd say my biggest thing that, I mean, like kind of what we do at AMG is, make changes based upon what you're actually doing, opposed to like an idea of what you're trying to do. I think a lot of guys have this idea, like, whether they think they're doing this or think they're doing that, whether it be like, okay, I am a, you know, 50 or 60-year-old guy. I'm trying to get, 50 degrees open at impact with my hips. It's like, nobody on tour really does that on the men's side. Nobody. There's not one guy we
Yeah.
know in a gears capture of a men's side that does that. Um, so when you see guys who have those type of goals in mind and don't really understand kind of what pattern they should be kind of playing on, you gotta get the expectations match reality, because it's like
Yeah.
I forget who said it, but somebody says like Suckville is like when you expectation are here and your reality is here. You're always trying to reach this, but you can't get there because what you may be doing your backswing or your downswing just don't match. So once again, if I'm 43 years old, if I'm trying to get to 40 degrees open in my hips in the downswing, and I say I open my hips up at 60 degrees in the backswing, my chances of getting to 40 degrees at impact are almost slim to none. The
Yeah.
time I have to open my hips up and the amount of land I got to cover is so great. Nobody on tour currently does this. Nobody's
Yeah.
like, even Rory's hips don't cover that much ground. So my
It's
hips can actually,
unrealistic.
yeah, it's unrealistic. And that's a lot of what we're seeing nowadays. Guys who do the menu golf swings. So we call it like, okay, I watched this one YouTube video. This guy says this. I like Rory's part of his downswing. I want to do this. And the guys like want pieces of different patterns that don't match.
Yeah.
So trying to get the expectation and reality to match up is kind of the biggest thing in what we do. Like if
Yeah.
you open your hips at like 30 degrees in the backswing and you get to 40 on the way through, that matches up. If you get
Yeah.
your hips open at 60 in the backswing and try to get to 40, that doesn't match. Nobody does that. Yeah.
Yeah. And how useful has it been for your clients so far to know the numbers, like the degrees and all that stuff? Because
Yeah.
sometimes it might like scare some people thinking all these numbers, but
So
has it been useful for the people you've been working with?
I mean, that's the biggest thing. And actually, what it does, it cuts through a lot of the bullshit. I mean, a lot of the guys we
Yeah.
see, I say in our place, are guys who are YouTube hunters. They watch every YouTube video. They can quote lines from really smart people. So this is like high end clients who like have seen Sean and Mike for years, have seen that you quote like, okay, on your episode this of Pro versus Am, you said this in the episode. They literally quote stuff they say verbatim
Yeah.
because they're very smart people. So being able to get to them and tell them like, okay, you think you're doing this, but you're actually here. It just cuts through all the minutia. Because like
Yeah.
a lot of times what people think they're doing and what they do in reality are way off. And you would probably see it with your clients too. It's like, you
It's
know,
huge. Yeah.
you think you're swinging, you know, I would say like I mean this is an old one from Trapman, but like guys who think they're slicers because of their in out path or out in path, and they're really in to out with an open face. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a similar type of thing. Guys who just don't understand what they're doing because they've never measured before.
And it's so hard to actually really understand what's going on in like the 1 second that you swing. And
That's exactly.
like the body awareness, the mental like connection that you got to have in order to know all these things. Like
Yeah.
even a professional golfer, it's like
I
still
mean,
struggling to kind of go through that.
I mean, well, you just nailed it on the head. Like the amount of time you actually have. That's why we do so many takeaway to backswing stuff in our world because we try to line them up the best they can in the backswing. Because like guys who just teach impact strictly, like, and the time you have to square it up an impact or try to get a correction impact is so little. It's so hard. Like, if you get the backswing line up pretty well to where they want to start the downswing in a certain position, that's so much easier.
Yeah. In your opinion, why do you think golfers struggle to get better at golf?
So I think it's the easiest answer ever. They they say what they want to do and they don't commit to it.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the New Year's resolution people. It's like this year I'm going to go to the gym. Okay, cool. I bought the New Year. January 1st. I bought the new membership. Next, the guy like hasn't been to the gym since January 2nd. You know, is
Yeah.
October. Oh, I haven't lost any weight yet. I had a membership. It makes no sense. That is exactly what it is. Guys will take a lesson, they'll maybe practice for a week, and then all of a sudden, like they're not getting better, and they don't stick with it.
Yeah.
Whatever you do in golf, it's similar to working out, similar to whatever you do in life. If you want to be good at it, you got to stick with it, and you got to have a plan, and you got to keep nurturing that plan the whole way. You can't just, like do it one time and say, "Oh, it didn't work. Oh, okay, I'm done." It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that does not work.
100%, bro. I mean, the top three things I'm always pushing, and for those that have been hearing the podcast now for a while, like I always say is top three things every golfer needs is patience, commitment, and humility. If
Yeah,
you got those three, like you're
and
gonna do pretty good, and
if
I
you want to add a
guarantee you the
fourth,
game is gonna
discipline.
test you.
Is
Yeah,
discipline. Like just like every day is not going to be fun, but just have the discipline to stick with what your goals are, whatever your plan is for the day. Like just stick with it. It's going to
yeah,
get better. If you keep doing it every day, you're going to get better.
totally, man. So you've been in the game now your whole life, basically,
Yeah, pretty
since you were
much.
like 10 years old.
Yeah,
What has the game of golf helped you most as a person?
man, that's a great question. I see the biggest thing it's helped me out with is just understanding how to honestly just deal with life. I mean, like you have stuff thrown your way. I've had so much stuff thrown my way since I was 20 years old, especially. Being able to understand how to how do you deal with a bad hole? How do you deal with a life-changing event that happens? It's like similar type of thing. And it's like how you deal with it on a daily basis. Like, um, golf teaches you
Yeah,
how to deal with stuff and keep moving. Really, is my
yeah,
biggest thing.
it really does, man.
Yeah, I lost my dad when I was in college. Um, lost a lot of friends during COVID. Not from COVID, but just my phone fell. Yeah, we lost a lot of friends during COVID who just from various different stuff that happened, and it's like, um, it's you learn to deal with tough stuff, um, through life, man. It's like
Yeah,
golf's one of those things that you get beat up constantly. You lose almost every time you play. It's like you
yeah.
just learn to deal with it, you know?
That's why I honestly believe that it should be a discipline that's instilled in education programs across the world, like
For
as
sure.
something that's like something people should understand, like maybe something like chess as well. It's a game where
Yeah,
like life is like chess,
it
golf
is.
is like life. It's like there's a lot of correlations in certain disciplines that help really train your character, because
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. Like a lot of golfers, they have a very well developed character because they've been through, so much with the game. And me and you have both lived it. But
Yeah,
to kind of move on to kind of another question that I had is the game of golf is growing so rapidly now. It's everything's,
yeah.
you know, growing so fast. With the indoor golf world, where do you see the future of indoor golf going?
That's a great question. And very timely question too, because of everything going on with Callaway and Top Golf right now. I mean, they own Five Iron as of well, so that's another indoor golf, um, vehicle there. And I mean, Five Iron's crushing it right now. They're doing very well.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest area where it is going to grow is just the fact that you can play golf at any time of day in an indoor facility. So whether you want to have like a 24/7 type of facility, and you have a guy who's like grinding out mini tours, who wants to be able to like go see his numbers on TrackMan at midnight because he's working throughout the day, or
Not
you
even
get
that, but like
the right.
also play in tournaments like
Yeah,
on
I think about
TrackMan now. Like,
yeah. That's for example, a guy just like we were talking about the other day. It's like a guy made 90 grand this year playing TrackMan golf tournaments, and he's played in three DP World events, and he's done very well. Like guy's crushing it. He's played very good golf. I mean, it's we get really busy in the spring from guys playing DP World Tour, the Trackman tournaments on our Sims actually. Yeah,
yeah. And I totally see that the indoor golf world blowing up in the future in golf. Like it's already starting to blow up.
yeah,
And with the Tiger Golf League, kind of happening with that, that's
yeah,
kind of like, going to be promoting indoor golf. I could see tons of people getting into that and like really
yeah,
starting to build like what you guys are doing. I really love because it's not just like go out there like Top Golf and just bang balls, do whatever you want. It's like it's for the people that actually want to take it to the next level and seriously and have
yeah.
a place where you can do that. So I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing we're trying to still figure out in our infancy is like, where do we mix in the, hardcore practitioner group that we have, or sorry, our niche, you'd say, to the, the fun bowling alley type of aspect. So we're still
Yeah.
trying to figure out like, maybe we're 8 to 8 right now on our time, or maybe, we may go 8 to 11 eventually and have like, 8 to 11 time be more with the guys who want to come in and have men's night, or, rent the place out and have like their, men's whiskey group or something like that. They're like hang out and have a little golf social hour.
Yeah. That's definitely where it's going, man. I mean, I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
you
for
guys will
sure.
find your path like as you go. You guys are definitely in the right place at the right time. And
Yeah,
it's definitely needed for golf in general. So
yeah, I 100% agree.
where can people find you?
Yeah, so athleticmotiongolfclub.com is my where you'd find my lesson right there. Nick Duffy Golf on Instagram is probably my main place where I do post. Um, it's the two easiest places to find me as of right now. Yeah, pretty much it.
Sweet, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
go definitely follow Nick on Instagram. He gives some great tips, and athletic motion golf is definitely doing some good stuff for the game. So I
yeah,
really appreciate you sharing today, kind of what you guys are going through and your life experience through the game of golf and how it's helped you evolve. So thank you,
yeah,
Nick.
yeah. Thank you, Leah. Great, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Cool, man.
See you guys in the next
All right.
episode.
See you, man.